Today we are going to watch Nick Fuentes' wild rant about Erika Kirk and Charlie Kirk. Let's get right into it.
Charlie and Erika, I do not believe for 1 second that they met organically. How do you think they met each other?
I think Nick probably knows exactly how they met each other. It's been wildly publicized. After meeting her a couple times at a couple different events, Charlie created a fake job interview to get her to come into TP USA, and then within a few minutes of the job interview quickly segued into letting her know that he wanted to date her, and then gave her 24 hours to think about it before she needed to respond.
Do you think that they bumped into each other at CPAC and Charlie said, "Hey, let's go on a date"? No, they were set up together by somebody. Who set them up?
If somebody set them up, they did it very, very well so that Charlie thought it was his own idea.
Charlie, I'm sure, he's super ambitious, super powerful, running this organization. They told him you need a wife. I'm sure he wants a wife. They told him you need a wife. If you want to run for office, you need a wife and kids. You need a family.
This is actually very true, but for different reasons. There are a number of stories that you can find. It's a different video and a different topic. But if you don't have a wife and kids and you run to be a politician, you almost immediately get blackmailed for control over your vote.
Family. They're grooming him to be super powerful. So he's hanging out at Bohemian Grove, and they say, "We need to give you a wife. We know somebody. We know this girl, and she's in some." How do they know her? Who set them up, and where did this girl come from that's going to be Charlie Kirk's wife and bear his children?
Her history is well documented.
I think that was an arranged marriage. And that tells me that she is tapped into some kind of network in some way. I don't know how. People talk about she was a pageant girl, and
she's tapped into a conservative network, Nick, and you probably know that. And you probably know that she's significantly more conservative than Charlie Kirk is. In fact, compared to Erika Kirk, Charlie Kirk is basically a moderate.
She ran this charity. Maybe there's a connection there. I would not be surprised at all. That, if you're talking about Erika Kirk, that I believe. People say Israel killed Charlie Kirk. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
This is absolutely bizarre for Nick Fuentes to not jump on a anti-Israel government bandwagon for any type of conspiracy. So much to the point that it makes me highly suspicious of Nick Fuentes.
Let's look at the marriage. Erika Kirk is now taking over Turning Point. That's suspicious as fuck.
It's not suspicious, Nick. Who else should take over Turning Point? It was Charlie's organization, and it went to his next of kin, who is also responsible for taking care of their children. And she has more entrepreneurial experience than anyone on the TP USA staff.
Because what we are being led to believe is that Erika Kirk is the archetypal trad girl. Isn't that the perception they're cultivating?
They really aren't cultivating that perception of her in any way. That girl on TikTok is the archetypal trad wife, not Erika Kirk. Erika Kirk was a beauty pageant winner. She started a charity and then ran a gift drive. She was an actress and started an app for Bible study. Far more entrepreneurial than most women.
When you look at some of these clips, she's supposed to be the ultimate trad wife. She's speaking at
Which clips, Nick?
the Young Women's Leadership Summit. She's on podcasts saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't focus because I'm so in love with Charlie. If he's here, I can't focus. I'm so smitten." Like, that's the character that she's playing. That's the character that they're selling us. Her husband gets shot in the neck graphically in front of everybody. Shouldn't Miss Tradwife, shouldn't she be like despondent? And I'm not trying to judge how people grieve. It's not our position to judge how they grieve or what their response is. Maybe she's just got unbelievable resolve.
He's going to spend the next 8 minutes judging exactly how she grieved.
But if she really is the ultimate trad wife who knows her place and is a helper to her husband, a helpmate, and she's so smitten with him and she's the perfect trad wife like how she's been presented to us for years, then when her husband gets shot in the neck and blood starts spurting everywhere in front of everybody who starts screaming and running away, shouldn't she be like in shock? Shouldn't she be like in a catatonic state or crying and be in a veil as a widow somewhere?
There's a lot of videos showing her hysterical. One specifically in the back of the car, one other one she's on the ground, literally wailing, I believe. It seems a little bit like Nick's a little jealous here, doesn't it?
But that's not what we got at all. The second he dies, she takes over Turning Point.
Because that is the instructions that he left TPUSA, that she take over. Partly because he wanted to take care of his family, and partly because it didn't really make any sense to have anybody else do it. And this is where Nick gets away with this, because who would be less suspicious or more suspicious than Erika Kirk, if not some of his underlings at TPUSA?
That happened like 2 days later.
Yes, there was a large amount of damage control going on, but again, these were Charlie's wishes.
She's all of a sudden the president of this $500 million organization.
I'm not sure where he gets $500 million. Turning Point USA lost $10 million last year, and they barely made any profit this year.
Super influential, now super powerful after Charlie became a martyr, and she's given speeches. She's given a speech, and the speech, I'm sorry, it's totally canned.
Her speeches were incredibly performative, but would you not be acting like you're better than you are if your husband was killed in front of the world? I think probably.
The first speech she gave next to his empty chair, she's like doing this weird affect, wiping away tears that aren't there. With this scripted speech, the battle cry of this widow, the cries of this widow will echo like a... And then at the WWE Memorial,
That's hilarious.
She comes out to fireworks and she does this like she's Mary in her white suit.
I would find it absolutely impossible to believe, to find out that Erika Kirk planned the memorial and specifically the fireworks, but if she did, it is very strange.
Her white suit, her makeup, her hair did.
A side note is a lot of cultures memorialize people that die young by wearing white to indicate that it's a young death.
And she goes out with fireworks at her husband's
The fireworks were wild.
fucking funeral like this. She fucking posed. Did you see that?
I'm not sure she could have done anything that he wouldn't have found fault with.
And then she goes up and says, yeah, I'm running Turning Point now, and this is how... It's giving me like Claire Underwood vibes.
He stole that from somebody else.
I think that was an arranged marriage, and either she was like a handler or she was... she had political ambitions of her own. But yeah, I don't know. Look, who is Erika Kirk now? This is a person that is being foisted on us.
Foisted is a great word.
And look, don't get me wrong. You lost your husband. I am deeply sorry for you. I really am. I'm praying for you. I am deeply sorry for you. I can't imagine what you're going through. But
I think he can.
But you becoming president of Turning Point and now being foisted upon us, that's an altogether different story. It's like I said on Monday, and Alex Jones didn't like this. He said it was mean. A lot of people didn't like it. You want our sympathy? You got it. You want our prayers? You got it. People would, walk over broken glass for this widow who can even sympathize, who can even understand what she's going through right now.
You see what he's doing here? He's calling the question of her taking over, but who would be more appropriate to take over, Nick? you're not making a suggestion that would make more sense. Who would Charlie have wanted to be responsible for his business, his family, his children, and their livelihoods for the rest of their lives?
Now. But they're asking us to accept her as like this new leader. They're foisting her on us as a political leader. And that I don't like. I don't like that because that's manipulative.
It's been made very clear that she's not going to be doing campus events. So she's literally just taking over the chief executive officer logistical role and maybe some podcasts. So he's dramatically over expressing what she's actually going to do.
That is predatory. She's the widow. Who can criticize her? She's a widow. Who could ever say anything negative about her? They're
Nick Fuentes can.
exploiting that.
So is Nick Fuentes.
They're exploiting that. She's untouchable. She's beyond reproach. She's the victim of the tragedy. It's like when a victim of a school shooting starts running an anti-gun nonprofit. You know, it's like March for Our Lives. Because who could criticize a kid that almost got killed in a school shooting? You know? It's giving me vibes. I don't like that. I don't like when some victim of some atrocity is then presented as a political figure, because it's like, okay, who the fuck are you? You're the victim of some tragedy.
To be fair, she was already a political figure before Charlie Kirk even met her.
That sounds like a really shitty thing to say, but it's like, how do I know you're not being controlled by somebody?
How do we know you're not being controlled by somebody, Nick?
Because, quite honestly, we knew who Charlie Kirk was, and he built the organization. We have no idea who you are.
A couple quick searches could give you an awful lot of information.
What makes you qualified to run Turning Point?
What makes her not qualified to run Turning Point? In fact, she probably has more entrepreneurial experience than anyone on the TP USA staff, based on her charity history, based on her app that she created for ministries, based on her actress and acting background, being able to be the figurehead of a company and having an acting background is probably pretty useful.
Because your husband got killed? What makes you qualified? We don't know anything about you. We
know a lot about her.
Know where you came from. We don't know anything about you. For all we know, you are working for some other person, or now the board is going to run it.
He misses an opportunity here to connect her parents, and specifically her stepfather, to the Department of Defense, the Department of Energy, FEMA, and Homeland Security, but he doesn't take it.
Now some shadowy force is going to run Turning Point through you, or you represent. We don't know. We don't know who you are.
All right, so which is it, Nick? Is it suspicious that she's running it, or is it suspicious that the board of directors for Turning Point USA runs it? Because those are basically the only two options.
But no one can say that because she's a widow, and that I don't like.
Except you are saying it.
Because this is a high-profile killing. It is forcing people to ask a lot of questions. And this is the one aspect of it that we're not allowed to ask questions about, because it's in
literally everyone is asking questions about this.
Bad taste. Well, you know what? This is politics. If you want to speak at the funeral, no one's going to question that. But you seize control of the organization right away, I'm seizing the reins. And no one dare question me because I'm a widow. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that one bit.
Nick sounds a little jealous here. And again, who else is supposed to take over Charlie Kirk's business?
And it doesn't really track. Like I said, if you watch any of the clips, it's just like downright insulting. The way that she's presented as like a trad wife. And correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be, but if you're the ultimate trad wife, shouldn't you be a little bit more torn up about this?
She really isn't the ultimate trad wife, or being presented that way. That girl on TikTok, Nora something or other, is the ultimate trad wife, and being presented that way. Erika Kirk is being presented as something very different.
I know I sound like an asshole. Where's
the
tears?
From what I understand, after several days of constant sobbing, you just don't have tears left in your tears duct.
Really? You're a trad wife? You're a helpmate. You're smitten. You're so in love. Blah, blah, blah. Your husband got publicly executed in front of all of his adoring fans 3 days ago. You're giving a speech today, taking control of Turning Point, vow.
Again, she didn't take control of Turning Point. It was well publicized that that was Charlie Kirk's wishes that she take over if anything happened to him.
Like that we're going to make Turning Point bigger than ever. Is that typical trad wife behavior?
No, it's not. It's typical wife of somebody that felt like they had a calling in life, and she thinks that Charlie Kirk is looking down on her, hoping that she picks up the baton and runs with it.
Who is this person exactly? Who is this? No one knows. So listen, and I know I don't really buy a lot of the Israel conspiracies. That is something I'm very interested in.
This is the most bizarre part, that Nick is not buying the Israel conspiracies for potentially the first time ever, and instead trying to connect Erika Kirk to the assassination of her husband, despite the fact that Charlie Kirk, just maybe 40 days prior to the assassination, said publicly and out loud, documented, that he felt like his life was in danger if he were to go against the Israeli agenda. And just yesterday, Candace Owens released tweets or text messages specifically in a private group chat that said Charlie had already decided to break from the Israeli agenda.
Erika Kirk is someone I'm very interested in.
It sounds like you're very interested in her.
You know, when people talk about energy weapons and decoy shooters and trap doors, you lose me.
Who is this? Who is this, Nick Fuentes?
When you talk about the person that succeeds Charlie Kirk, that's relevant. Who's going to take his place? Good question. It's the wife.
Who should have taken his place, Nick? It's a major flaw in your entire argument here. You're not offering what would make more sense.
Who's the wife? No one knows.
Everybody knows.
So, you know, some of that stuff, you know, the Epstein files, I don't know how much that plays into it, because Charlie was in favor of covering them up.
Charlie was initially in favor of letting Dan Bongino and Kash Patel do whatever they were going to do, but then there was pushback, and he became very adamant that they needed to release the Epstein files immediately.
A week after the DOJ covered up the Epstein files, Charlie Kirk went on his show and said, I trust the government. I don't want to ask any more questions about it. So I don't think that had anything to do with it.
That's basically true, but he changed his tune immediately when there was blowback from that interview.
I think they just took advantage of it. But, yeah, but the wife is sort of interesting. And I know
I bet you think she's interesting, Nick.
I sound like a jerk. Fine. I sound like a jerk. I don't care. That's a question that needs to be answered, and she's in politics now. If she wanted to be a widow, then, you know, she should have just started some fucking foundation and said, we're giving out the Charlie Kirk Memorial Scholarship or something. But she took control of a $500 million all-important political org that just got way more important.
Nobody's going to be able to replace Charlie Kirk. It's going to quickly fall apart over the next couple of years. Charlie Kirk was that organization.
And, you know, succeeding a guy that died, it's a little suspicious. So, yeah, I gave me a very bad taste in my mouth when am I the only one? I mean, tell me what you think. One's in the chat if you think I'm onto something. Two, if you think I'm a dick. Because I'm actually curious. I'm actually curious how many people bought it. And I didn't want to say that right out of the gate because I know how that sounds and I know that comes across a certain way. But I'm just telling you, gut level, my reaction. When I saw her first speech, when I saw her second speech, I said, I don't like this. Something's not right here.
Is that not just a wild amount of jealousy there? Specifically, he seems a little bit obsessed with Erika Kirk. I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments.